People have been asking how the avocados that I planted in here fared over winter here in Tasmania. Now, before I actually show you what's happened with the avocados, I'd like to show you what's happened with the citrus trees that I planted around here as well, because if you recall, I planted some young mandarins and a tangelo in this area, and we'll also look at the other citrus and see how they're going. So with these young citrus that I put in, they have done reasonably well through winter, considering that it's their first winter. And now with spring you can actually see young shoots coming and even the attempt at flowers on the tangelo. However, the flowers really shouldn't remain because it's their first year. You want the energy to go to growth, not to flowers and fruit. So I will remove those flowers. Yes, these look a little bit on the yellow side. They have shown, that they noticed winter, they felt it a little bit cold. But considering that this is their first year and they're coming away with good growth, I don't think that's anything to be concerned about. The thing that I will need to pay attention to with these citrus is water, because we are now running into a period where there's a lot less rainfall. So I really need to extend in the next few weeks the irrigation that I have on the avocados across these citrus and make sure they get some water. So with these existing citrus, they're doing of course really well because they're established and they've been growing here for a few years. The youngest is the lime, and we had, as I showed in an earlier video, lots of lovely limes off that over winter, and there's going to be a lot more because it's now beginning to flower. The one that's really producing well at the moment is this one beside me, which is the grapefruit tree, and it's loaded with fruit. I think you need to be really careful, of course, with grapefruit is because they're so heavy and so large that they don't break branches, and so I really have to start thinning these bunches out and picking some and using them now. They are ripe now, even though there's still a lot of green showing on them. The ones that are more yellow, of course, are better in flavour. But here in Tasmania I found they don't really get enough intense sun to really yellow up like they would in a more northern climate. So you need to pick them anyway and use them. If you leave them on longer term, they simply go green again. So there's no point thinking they're going to get yellow and waiting. At least in my situation that's the case. This little navel orange is doing really well this year. It's got some nice new growth coming on and more at the front here, so hopefully it'll balance up. Lots of flowers coming. Yes, there's still some fruit which I do need to pick now, because when the flowers come it's good to get the fruit off so that it actually sets fruit better. This navel orange, it's worth remembering that when I originally planted it, I had it in a different location. It was only about so high and it lost all its leaves when I first planted it and looked like it would die. I moved it to this location and it's come away. It's never looked back. It just loves the extra shelter and heat in this corner, and the extra fertilizer, of course, that it's getting from the hens, and it's really doing well. So hopefully we'll get some fruit, or a lot more fruit, from it in the future. The last citrus I have here in the chook run is this. Well, it looks a bit more like an orange, but it was supposed to be a tangelo, but there's a couple of different types of tangelos. So this one is very much like an orange and has seeds. We just juice it and drink it as juice. But it's doing really well too, and we really need to get in and utilize this fruit now as the flowers are beginning to come on this one as well. But looking really happy. So in contrast to those citrus, these avocados look pretty terrible. Yes, they really suffered through winter. This one more than the one at the back. This one obviously was more exposed here to the cold, and it's really felt it and dropped a lot of its leaves. I think it will probably lose all its leaves, and I really expect that the one at the back may as well. They are trying to flower, which is that stress-induced flowering, and of course it would be seasonal at this time of the year as well, but under stress they're trying to put it out. I had originally considered putting some plastic around this area to actually keep the cold out, and I really should have. I forgot to do it. I really should have done that. I think it would have been a lot warmer if I had put plastic around here, and that was a mistake not doing that. However, this is its first winter, and really the question now is, can I get these to come back? Can I get them to shoot leaves and keep on growing into the summer, and hopefully in 2 or 3 months time look a lot better? In order to try and achieve that, there are 3 things that I'm going to do. The first thing that I'm going to do is actually to rub off these little flowers, because I really don't want the plant to spend its energy on flowering at this stage. I want it to actually come back to leaf rather than flower. I won't snip it off because it would tend to bleed a bit more, but just rubbing these flowers off, I think, is, well, only little buds at this stage, mostly is quite safe and will stop that energy going into the flower. The second thing that I'm going to do is actually to put some mulch around the bottom. What I've got is some rotted mushroom compost, and so I'll put that around. That'll add a little extra nutrition. And the third thing that I'm going to do is actually give them a water with some seaweed extract diluted in water, and watering that on will give a little bit extra nutrition and hopefully help them come back to life now that the weather is beginning to warm up. So there's no question that these avocados really took the winter a lot harder than the citrus did, and the only hope now is that they will recover and take off as the summer comes on. I have, of course, to check the watering system and make sure that it is running properly, because it's going to be really important from now on that they have regular water, and it's going to be a lot better if I can forget about it and just let it happen. So I'll come back to these in our Year in Our Garden series and the monthly updates and show you how they're going. Hopefully in a couple of months that the leaves will be coming through and we're starting to see some good growth.